Message, this is for my single women of God. If you are not single while simultaneously being a woman of God, this is not for you. I don't mean single or a woman of God. I mean single and a woman of God, meaning that you are a woman after God's heart. If that's not you, keep scrolling because this doesn't pertain to you. Okay, now that my people are here, listen. Stay away from the men who want everything that comes with marriage but are afraid of the actual commitment of marriage, right? Like the long-term boyfriends who want to be with you for 2, 3, 4, 20 years and never want to put a ring on it. First of all, if you are a woman of God, you should not be relinquishing your body to anyone that you're not married to anyways, because I'm speaking to the women of God, right? But let's just say that you are lukewarm in that area, which you shouldn't be. But let's say that you are. They want to cohabitate with you. They want to have sex with you. They want to have children with you. They want you to cook and clean for them. They want you to assist them with bills. They want everything that a wife would do without the commitment of marriage. Ask them why. Marriage is just paperwork. If I marry you, you're going to try to take everything. If they literally don't want to marry you because they're thinking about what could happen if you guys get divorced, that's not the person for you, because they're completely okay with using your body up. They're completely okay with using your time up. They're completely okay with cohabitating with you and keeping you away from finding someone who actually wants to commit to you, right? But they don't want to commit to you because what if it don't work out? That's not a good reason to not marry someone, especially in the kingdom. And I'm speaking to kingdom citizens only. If a man does not honor you enough for you to be the only woman he is with, if a man does not honor you enough to actually solidify your relationship with the covenant with God, then you should not be wasting time with him. Now, if you want to live in the world and you want to waste time, do that, baby girl. This video ain't for you. But for the women who are looking for their Boaz, for the women who are looking for men who are actually going to uplift them in the kingdom and who they can be their backbone rather than just helping them with stuff and never actually getting the credit that they deserve. Do not stay in a long-term relationship with a man who does not see the value in marriage, because if he is a man of God, he will understand the value in marriage. It will not take him very long to see whether or not he wants to marry you. And a man of God is not going to waste your time. If you guys date for a couple weeks or a couple months and he does not have any intentions of marrying you, he will let you know that you're not the woman for him and he will leave you. Reason being is that he is a man of God and he doesn't want to waste his time nor yours. A man who is lukewarm or a man who is nowhere near God at all is going to waste your time and your resources until he finds the woman that he actually wants. That's how you see men who will date a woman for 10, 20 years, never marry her, and then marry the next woman quickly. Because he already knew what he was looking for. He just wanted you to be that placeholder to help with bills and whatever kids that your sex produced. He wanted you to be the woman to help him with cooking and washing his clothes and doing it. Like, he wanted that. He wanted everything that comes with being in a marriage without the actual commitment of marriage, because if he breaks up with you, y'all were never married anyway. So in his eyes, he didn't do nothing wrong. That's not what you should be looking for. And if a man is doing that to you right now, I'm not telling you to give him an ultimatum, but I'm telling you to give your heart an ultimatum. Have a conversation with God today and ask him, God, is this my Boaz? Is this the man that you wanted me with? Do I need to have a conversation with this man? Like, I want you to do this now, because tomorrow is not promised. And the worst thing for a woman of God is to be following God in every area except for your relationship life. Because you don't want the only reason that you don't go to heaven to be because you felt so lonely that you just allowed a man to use you up. You don't want that to be the only reason that you don't go. I love y'all. That's my little spiel. I've been single for a little over 2.5 years. I've technically been single for 3 years, but I did have a short-term relationship about 2.5 years ago that lasted just a little short amount of time. But I'm very, very serious about my walk with Christ. I'm very, very serious about my next marriage being my last marriage, because I've been married one time, and that was to my first boyfriend, and that was not a relationship that was built on Christ. That was also not a relationship that was ordained by Christ, which is why it ended with abuse and cheating. I dated a guy for 3 years after that marriage and produced children with this guy, and he was abusive and he would pull weapons out on me. He broke my jaw and my ribs. It was not a good thing. So I moved my children almost 4 hours away from our hometown. They have not saw their fathers in over 3 years. They have had a mother who is very, very serious about her walk with Christ. And my children are growing. And they're understanding what love is supposed to look like and feel like. And they don't see their mom jumping from man to man, because I haven't. I've only dated, and I don't even call it dating because we weren't even together for very long at all, but I only dated one guy since I've been here for 3 years, and that didn't even last more than a couple of weeks. I pulled myself out of that because I knew it wasn't ordained by God, and I was not, even though he was in church, he always wanted to talk about sex or try to have sex with me, and it was definitely not ordained by God. The guys that I talked to, I had talked to, not talked to currently because I haven't been talking to anybody for years. But the guys that I used to talk to in that type of way, same thing. Not ordained by God, so it never became a relationship. So I'm telling you this from personal experience. When you allow loneliness to make you jump from relationship to relationship or make you stay in a relationship for too long, you are not following Christ. You can't be following God in every area but your sex life, because sexual immorality goes against God. Sexual immorality is the sin. So you got to stop allowing your loneliness to make you think that it's okay to go against God. He loves you enough to continue to give you grace, to continue to give you mercy, continue to allow you to repent. But that is not an excuse to live in sin. We got to start doing better. And it wasn't until I understood that I had to start doing better that I started to do better. I had to understand what I was doing wrong first. So I'm just giving you advice coming from a woman who has had to bump her head. My first 2 relationships took 11 years out of my life. From the age of 19 to 29, I was in 2 different relationships where I was being abused, manipulated, cheated on, financially abused. I was not allowed to do or say certain things. I was treated very, very poorly, and I had no backbone. It took me getting bones broken. It took me almost losing my life multiple times. It took me having to move my kids to another state to understand what I did wrong. I don't want that to happen to anybody else. I don't want you to have to be beaten so badly that you almost lose your life. I don't want you to have to move out of town. I don't want you to have to deal with losing relationships with family and friends. I don't want you to have to deal with anything that I had to deal with in order to understand what you deserve. So I make videos like this so that you can understand what you deserve. And if you don't want to take heed to it, you don't have to. But coming from a woman of God who has grown a lot and who is continuing to grow a lot every single day, who is in her word every single day, who is a faithful tither at church, who goes to church every single week or watches it online when I'm not in town, someone who shares the gospel as a disciple of Christ. This is coming from someone who was once so broken that she wanted to end her life. And now I'm telling you how to keep your life. You gotta lose it. In order to keep your life, you gotta lose it and find God's life. Find Jesus' life. Find strength in Jesus' promises. Find strength in Jesus' sacrifice. How do you do that? By honoring his commandments. He says, if you love me, you will follow me. If you're not following him, you don't love him. And if you don't love him, he's going to tell you he never knew you. So I love you enough to let you know. Let that man go. Leave that man alone. That is not your kingdom spouse. Go get you some therapy. Get in your word. Get around some godly people. Spend some alone time with God and figure out what you need to be doing with your life, because laying up with that man who has no intentions of actually providing for you in the way that a man of God should is not a part of God's plan for your life, so it shouldn't be a part of yours either. I love you. God bless you.